Opa! Alright, Monkey.
Monkey
Very
King coming
interesting.
in. Very strong
That
with
should
the
be your
Lich, too.
move. Yeah, very strong with the Lich, with the Magnus as well. It gives you 2 melee cores that get empowered and can farm incredibly well, incredibly fast. We'll be playing versus the TA on the mid lane. I've seen this matchup quite a few times. Monkey can do well here if he gets an early orb of Venom and starts like just going after TA. He can win this lane. It can be pretty good for Braille. We'll see. I believe Monkey King is one of his favorite heroes, right? He plays it so much, so it's not really the best hero currently in the meta, and there are many games in which you see Monkey King not picked, even though he's a perfect pick. And you know what also? Wyvern is a great combo breaker versus Magnus, so I love this pick. Also, it's a deny pick, so it doesn't get picked versus Legion Commander, even though I don't think Wyvern would have been picked. But still, it's good to take it and make sure that you ban something else. But I'm surprised Kotl hasn't been banned out, by the way, so far. Like, Kotl coming through the last stage is pretty interesting. Fighting Pandas, they don't really have space for Kotl, I guess, because they already have their position 5.
Yeah, with the Winter Wyvern here, they've got some teamfight control for EHOME. Coddle, you said they've got their 5 with the Lich, so yeah, I don't know if he really fits, like you said, in either lineup. Magnus is going to be the 4, yeah?
Magnus?
Is he going to be the
No, it could be your offlane. It could be your
Yeah.
offlane. Just I've seen them roll position 3. So just your Magnus offlane that isn't really about that blink into RP, just about the empowering, and you get something like Greaves, a lot of utility. Pretty much every offlaner right now is all about utility, right? Even this Legion Commander, most likely what we'll see is maybe a Bracer Medallion Pipe, something like that. Just or maybe a Solar Crest in this particular game. Pipe is alright, but not that super important. Let's see on the side of EHOME. I guess they'll ban some position 4 or offlane, like you just said, because Magnus can do both. However, not the biggest fan of Magnus 4 overall. It's kind of lackluster. It doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. If you aren't if your skewers aren't on point, it feels bad overall for them. I think they need some more control to get from that position 4.
Ready to see what EHOME plan on banning last. And they're working on VT Faded Zero. Do you think... I just want to make sure it's not banned. I always do that. I always suggest something that's been banned already. But I was thinking maybe Lifestealer VT Faded does favor that hero quite a bit. You've got it with the Legion, Blinken, Infest Pop. Not that you necessarily need a vehicle these days with Lifestealer, but decent hero to line up with the TA and Legion.
Let's see what they go for. They go for the Gyro instead. Yeah, Gyro that was left through. I think it's a bit better too versus these heroes of fighting pandas than a Lifestealer. Already you're fighting versus Monkey King and Jug, right? They don't truly care about your rage. It's hard to fight into Monkey King's ulti too, but it could have worked. It could have worked definitely. Some Radiance build or the right click damage build, but I think Gyrocopter kind of combos with TA a little bit better because you don't have downtime on your lineup. If you picked Nyx, Lifestealer that is, you would have downtime. If he's going for Radiance and TA is going for Dazzle Blink, then you have to pretty much wait for both of these cores. When you pick Gyro, one of these cores can be active early on, either the TA or the Gyro. Gyro with drums and a couple of raid bands, or the TA with the Blink early on. So it makes your strategy a bit more flexible. It makes your power spike a little bit easier to play. And now fighting pandas, CK has been banned out, so they never mind. They need a position 4 here with the Magnus on that offlane. Something to go through TA's armor would be cool too. Some catch.
We'll see what they go to here, and it's SK.
All right, that. So we don't know. It could be your offlane Sand King too. It could be your offlane SK and Magnus position 4, or it could be your offlane Magnus and Sand King position. Let's see what they go for. Snaking, come on. Snaking Sand King. It should be your 4, right? Let's see. Not showing us anything just yet. They're thinking about it. Thinking about their options.
They're hoping to hear you praise it first. They're trying to figure out what you like more.
I think there was someone just flaming snaking on his Sand King quite a lot, and yeah, he goes for the Magnus instead. So we will have the position for Magnus and an offlane Moon Meander Sand. One good thing about this is I guess if you're the Sand King on this offlane, it's a little bit easier to get more alone, right? If Magnus abandons you, it's easier for Sand King to get some farm without that position 4 than it would have been for a Magnus. And Snaking, if he's not with Sand King, he can go around, he can stack, he can empower Brile or Envy. So I have to still say I'm not the biggest fan of a position for Magnus, but I think in this particular lineup it can definitely work. I think it's a very, very well-rounded lineup, but same can be said for E. And for EHOME, they have a position 4 that I believe can do a little bit more in the laning stage, and I think that's where their strengths, that's where they're a little bit stronger at least.
I get a little worried about the 4-position Magnus, where he's trying to give him power and help the Jug as well as the Monkey King farm, where maybe in that 4 position, he doesn't find as much farm. Where we'd see like the Lina, we've seen get, above offlaners before. Get that Aether Lens, have a Yules, maybe an Ags. Like, what I've been seeing, at least in the Chinese region, as well, is seeing these Linas with just like Aether Lens, maybe even Shadowblade Ags Refresher. Like, they just get so much farm, and I worry about, is Magnus going to be forcing the farm onto his other 2 cores?
Have you been watching some turbo games in Chinese scene, or what the hell is that?
No, it was just the other day. It's nuts.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I mean,
it's the hate build.
It can definitely happen. I think this is a pretty good Lina game as well. When you think about it, you have this duel into the burst damage from the Lina. Some Etherlands, Yule's Aghanims is definitely not out of the question for Xingqiu if he does have a good game. We'll see. Are they going? Let me see just how they are setting up these lanes. Right now, it's 3 of them on the offlane. Actually, 4 with the Monkey King in the courier mode.
Did they spot that rotation a little bit? Well, now they're going to spot Snake
with the ward. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, EHOME is one of those teams that always plans the same wards, and I'm surprised how he misses it. Like, there's two wards that they spot. They always plant an observer here or here, and I'm surprised he didn't plant the sentry a little bit over here. And like, he could have dewarded this. Usually you prepare for the team you're playing against, and these starting wards sometimes are repeated. Yeah.
The battle begins.
Who do you think's actually the best at that? What team's the best at their different choices in wards?
I mean, it changes from one team to another over time. Captains do different things. One team that actually does quite a lot on that in that aspect is Liquid right now, the X Alliance. I know for a fact in Stania he works a lot on that, and he tries to play these mind games. There's a lot of mount games. There's a lot of teams that do the same, but sometimes you see position 5s just focusing on some other things and not really too much on the wards. When I was playing, I would definitely focus a lot on the wards because I could contribute to anything else.
Oh man, hey, you contribute to a lot more these days, eh?
Yeah, I guess. I help my family. I buy groceries. Not really in the Dota world though. I don't contribute to anything.
Contribute a lot more than I definitely do. That's for sure.
Feels bad, man.
I'm a headless chicken.
This took a dark turn. This took a really dark turn.
Well, it's not a dark turn. It's just, I'm not that skilled of a player. I play Ancient Apparition. Sometimes I feel like I'm walking around with my head cut off.
Hey, that was pretty much me in the pro scene. Play Ancient Apparition and throw some ultis, eat some creeps. Feels good, man. Ward, the ward.
hoping to get something done. They have a little bit of a sound issue here with fighting pandas. I always get nervous when they say sound issues. I think, well, this is my first time casting with you, but I always tell this story about how I was casting WESG Canada a couple of years back, and apparently they didn't turn off that the players could hear the commentators, I guess.
Yeah, I that happened a couple of times. Yeah, it wasn't only for you. I think it happened to different.
I get so nervous now, and
casters.
anytime there's a pause, I'm like, can they hear me? I freak out. Like, I go into this immense panic. I'm excited to see this Bryle 897 matchup over mid, because I did boast about the 897 TA, but up against this Monkey King, I'm excited to see it, especially with how Bryle performed in the previous 2 games.
And also, it's his full comfort zone with this Monkey, so we'll see. I've seen this go both ways. I guess Monkey, I mean, I don't guess. I know Monkey King has an advantage, obviously, but TA, if she plays everything right, she can get the CS and then go farm in the jungle. When it comes to Monkey King, it's all about what he does after the laning stage, in my opinion. Like, Moon, bottom lane, he is getting pretty low, but he has
a lot of damage.
He should be fine. When
Maybe
it comes to Monkey King, it's all about what he does after the laning stage. If he gets, like, he gets an advantage, but he needs to press that. Like, he needs to make something happen. He needs to be that playmaker. If he fails to do so, if he sticks around on that mid lane, more often than not, I see a couple of rotations happen. Monkey King dies once or twice, and then he's useless for the next 10 minutes, trying to catch up, trying to get back into the game.
I take what I please.
I was a little surprised that VT didn't want to just move in on Moomiander there. He didn't have a Burrow Strike. All he has is a Sandstorm.
He didn't have a Rocket Barrage. He had homing missile and flak cannon, I guess. So because of that, he thought he can't take him down.
Now he's got some creeps under the tower, at least for the moment, and is out leveling Moomiander. Innocence needs to walk away with this creep wave. And TA also taking a lot of damage over mid, so a lot of harassment coming towards these EHOME heroes. At least for now.
The laning stage is going decently for fighting pandas at the moment. Bryle doing pretty well on mid lane. Bottom lane,
Cold Embrace.
Yeah.
Black
He's
Cannon
so dead.
will try to walk away, and there's first blood for the side of fighting pandas.
Blood on the sand strikes the perfect note.
That's pretty good for them. I don't think this lane is like the strongest combination of heroes, like Sand King plus Magnus. I don't think the kill potential is super big, and them getting that first blood definitely helps out because they will have boots. Once you have boots on Magnus, it kind of changes the way that you can play the lane, as it's much easier for you to get behind the target and skewer it back.
So see how effective that becomes. They've got the sentry down for the Dire, making sure that the vision isn't there for EHOME when he's inside this Sandstorm. And meanwhile, Magnus, he's going to move over towards mid. Snake King looking to disrupt this mid lane, disrupt 897, and he's very far forward at the moment.
897 should know, though. He saw Snake King, so let's see if he can... No, he can't
Shockwave
dodge it.
skewer. And creeps were taking the shots under the tower. One shot comes in. He's got the refraction for a moment and goes into the meld. And will come out of it. Boundless Strike comes through, and he gets killed off.
Courier it almost died. The creep was attacking it at the range creep, and the courier almost died. One attack was necessary. But what happened to 897 there? He saw it. Like, he saw the vision. Lina on top lane.
Yeah, Blade Fury comes out, and all of a sudden it's 3-0 for fighting pandas. This is a little bit of the exact opposite that we saw from them against EHOME yesterday.
Yeah, fighting pandas doing pretty well in the laning stage. 1k ahead almost. 4 minutes in, three kills. Magnus also stealing experience from 897 now when he's farming jungle. But back to that point, 897, he did see Magnus rotate mid. He saw him, he has that ward, but he still remained on the mid lane. So, yeah, a little bit of miscommunication maybe with his teammates. Maybe someone didn't warn him about that rotation.
Burrow Strike on Innocence. Shockwave will pull him back. Moomiander taking a lot of damage. The Skewer, now the Cold Embrace. Innocence will survive. They've got VT faded by himself, at least for now, going over towards this Bounty Rune. And they'll take control of it. Botto and Pop.
AOY top lane.
Is he going to activate the shrine before he dies? No. Ooh, he's going to just survive straightforward. I really thought Legion... overwhelming odds on cooldown, so... Thought he had that kill.
Pretty good illusion play, by the way, bottom with the gyrocopter as he was going for the Sand King. He couldn't use Rocket Barrage because Sand King always used those illusions to soak most of the damage in. Okay, the rotation on 897.
Big rotation. 3 heroes here over mid. They've got the Shockwave as well as the Skewer. 897 trying to run. They've got the Sentry. The Cold Embrace will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but only extending the inevitable. And he is dead once again. Heavy rotations coming out for fighting PandaS over mid, and they have a 1,000 net worth lead immediately.
Even though he was only, what, like 5-6 CS behind the Monkey King when that kill happened, he's quite far behind when it comes to net worth. 1k behind, actually. 6 minutes in, and it's a really difficult situation that he's in. TA versus Monkey obviously isn't TA favorite, and then you add a couple of rotations going into Monkey's way, and Bryle is ready to rumble. He can roll across this map right now with this haste, definitely, as he goes down to Gyro.
So he's going to come over, Moomiander here as well, blocking the creeps as much as possible, keeping the creep equilibrium away from the tower.
You could see the way the VT Faded moved. Like, he moved a little bit towards his tower, towards the trees, and because of that, Monkey can't engage. Like, these subtle movements, it's just an inch. Like, it's all you have to do as a carry to prevent a gank in such a high-skill game. That's it. Because if they dive that, the possibility of Legion porting in and healing him up and turning is too big.
It again. They've got the Shockwave. Bryle taking a lot of damage this time around. They'll rotate over VT Faded. 897 getting low. One more shot until he's gone. They'll take him out. Splinter Blast, and they've stunned up Bryle, but is it going to be enough? They look over at Snake King. They'll get one kill there. They've got Jinkyu trying to catch Bryle. Neither the Dragon Slave or the LSA lands, and now Moomiander's coming in. This could be really bad for EHOME. Primal Spring all the way down to finish off VT Faded, and the rotations are piss poor from EHOME. And they're about to get even worse.
Like, did you see that?
Oh, man.
It's so unfortunate. Like, EHOME, I was silent when it first happened, Gyro, but now Lina triggered me. Gyrocopter, he had an option to go for Snake King or go for Monkey King. And for some reason, he uses that Rocket Barrage and kills Snake King instead of a much bigger kill, instead of that Monkey. And then Lina uses LSA on Lich, but doesn't last at him like one more time. Stops the attack midway. Some weird stuff happening from EHOME. Overall, this is probably the worst laning stage that they have had in the series that they played versus Fighting PandaS yesterday and today. Even in the game that they lost yesterday, they had a much better laning stage.
And this looks like it can almost spiral out of control for EHOME if they're not too careful. They are now looking over at the stacks. EE's looking to grab some stacks, which would take that away from the TA, which is the recovery that she wants. We've got 4 heroes here for EHOME to defend the stack.
Moon is just stealing it. Look at that. With Sandstorm, he's just taking the stacks away. 897. At least he gets the big camp, but yeah, they're losing farm on their side of the map, and that's always bad.
Really good job by Fighting PandaS there to put some pressure on the TA like that. And it slows down that TA, which usually has those stacks in their recovery. Ooh, Epicenter top. They're looking for Faith beyond Burrow Strike a little bit short. They use the Omni Slash as well as the Blade Fury coming in. Do they have enough to get the kill? He walks away from that.
Okay, that Epicenter was a little bit of what? Like Moon Meander, not his proudest moment. Let's just put it that way. Half of that Epicenter was completely whiffed, wasted. So Fate Beyond just uses his ulti and gets out. I mean, overwhelming gods and gets out.
All you needed there was the Burrow Strike to hit too, and that didn't even land on the Legion commander. Obviously,
she's just so tanky.
Yeah.
Just phase boots. Actually, Legion isn't going for that utility role that we usually see. Instead, he's going straight into Blink after phase boots. in this kind of a game, I guess with the Lina you can get some kills, but this is a very dangerous build to go for. Like if you go for a blink like this and you don't get those initial kills, man, is your game hard. Like suddenly you have no ways of coming back when it comes to farm. You're just much squishier in the mid game too. And we'll see if it will work out for him or not, but it's definitely a more riskier approach to the offlane Legion commander.
10 minutes into the game, Monkey King sitting top of the net worth. TA has recovered a little bit, and the next 3 on the net worth are all from the side of EHOME. So this game, despite being 6 kills to 1, doesn't always tell the tale of how the farm is going, and EHOME are definitely doing a good job of stabilizing after what seemed like a really rough couple of lanes.
Yeah, a couple of stacks for that TA, like you just said, and she's back in the game. Her net worth has stabilized, and Monkey King, he's still ahead, but only 500 ahead. Unlike he was actually 5 minutes ago, he was 1,000 ahead of the TA. So right now, EHOME definitely doing much better in the farming department, and that's surprising considering fighting pandas. They do have that Magnus with maxed out Empower, who's pretty much just running between Bryle and Juggernaut and empowering them. So it's surprising that they aren't in a bigger lead.
They're just calling him over. Empower, over here. Sir, Empower, over here. Yeah. Like a waitress just trying to get drinks out. Are these doing anything for you guys? These analogies? No?
They're good, man. I like it. Don't worry. A waitress that also empowers you. Comes to you and tells you that you're a good boy. Gives you a drink and also tells you nice stuff. Snaking. I can imagine snaking like that, please. Actually, he empowered me in the gym once. Minor. He told me I was a beast. So feels good, man. There you go. He's a natural born empowerer.
Invisru now with the smoke from Innocence as well as VT Faded as they start to roll over mid, but there was a smoke right behind them coming in from Mumiander as well as AUI. Smoke breaks, Burrow strikes there as they've got the sentry ward, so it spots the gyro cover. He's in a lot of trouble. Now they throw the call down. Mumiander, Chain Frost coming out from AUI. Mumiander had to run for a second. They've got the Sinister Gaze. But the trap slows AUI. Dragon Slave gets the kill. Now great Winter's Curse. And I believe that was at the beginning of the epicenter for Mumiander. The LSA follows it up as well as the Laguna Blade. They get themselves the dual damage. They'll take out VT Faded. Primal Spring out of the low ground. Omnislash comes in, but Faithbeyond's going to be saved by the Cold Embrace. Let's see if they're able to do anything afterwards or if they just try to disengage, and it does look like the latter, as they will just leave. Meanwhile, TA farming up and looking to finish off that Deso while this is going on.
Yeah, you could see that both teams are struggling to approach the team fight in a decisive manner because both teams have ways of breaking up fights, right? On one side you have Magnus who can counter-initiate with RP. On the other side, if he uses that RP too soon, the only thing that will happen is Winter Wyvern is going to curse him. So they're pretty much bluffing and forcing one side to use their spells before they go in. EHOME did it well. Up until the part in which Gyro with 10% HP runs in and just top lane. Sand King.
Looking for the duel.
They have a dust.
We'll get the call down, overwhelming odds. Burrow's strike will stop the duel for a moment. They might try to keep him alive so he can get the duel damage. And that's exactly what they'll do.
Good play by VT Faded. He moves away with the barrage so that Moon Meander feeds the duel damage and his life in the end. Pretty good. And they take down the tier 1. But Sand King's job there was to stall. His job was pretty much to dive if it's necessary and delay them from taking this tier 1 as long as possible. Because fighting pandas, they are not on a clock in this particular game. When Jug and Monkey King have an Empower in Magnus, like they can stall, they can play the late game. They're not in a big rush. You're playing versus a Gyro, but usually if you're playing Jug versus Gyro, Jug is supposed to make moves, but when you're playing with a Magnus Jug, then you aren't, as you have that flesh farming ability with the Empower.
Monkey King, Primal Spring, and this is going to be into a bit of trouble because they've got the Winter's Curse to start it off. A Mumiander on the side gets the Burrow Strike on 2 of these heroes, as well as the Epicenter coming out to follow it up as the Balance Strike hits from Bryle. Press the attack. Sinister Gaze locks in Jinkyu. He's not dead just yet, but Oh, looking low, maybe gonna fall, but Laguna Blade, he gets a kill before he dies. He'll die to Moomiander, the Cold Embrace. Now look for the Wukong's command from Bryle, but he won't even need it. He'll trade for Innocence. And now Bryle is dominating at 4-0-2.
Yeah, pretty good skills there for them. They do lose the Lich, but nothing of value was lost, let's put it that way, and they take down the tier 1 too. Sand King, his ultimate was interrupted there, but in the end they do get what they were looking for, and that's what matters the most. Now the Blade Mail will be completed on Legion soon, as he has the Chainmail plus 1000 gold. BKB also queued up on the Gyrocopter, so these big items are coming for EHOME. I believe Blink Dagger on TA, and they're pretty much set. They're ready to fight. By the way, Blade Mail on Legion is super scary for a Juggernaut. It kind of goes like this: if Jug is ahead, and Legion gets, if Jug is like ahead by a mile, then that Blade Mail doesn't matter. But if Legion is all right and she gets that Blade Mail at a decent timing, Jug can just get destroyed by the Legion alone.
Looks like they might try to two-prong attack this. They've got Faith Beyond towards top, but it looked like Fighting Pandas were going to kind of pinch over mid. Although they're none the wiser to a Roche attempt that EHOME are going for. They've got the Deso, they have the Meld Strike, they have Faith Beyond and 897 in here to just sneak in a Roche. And they're going to get it uncontested.
Yeah. They definitely didn't expect this. They didn't scan it, they didn't even move around. Usually TAs, they do get the Deso, but they don't go straight into the pit, as it's very risky. But you have to check for it, you have to scout for it. They had one ward, but it's not good enough. AUY?
Trying to get that sentry.
Poor Aoi. Died in a noble cause of dewarding.
That is a tough one, but Lina definitely happy to get that. Having that Laguna Blade every 70 seconds, not a high cooldown on any level. And Blink Dagger here for the TA, so a quick Blink Dagger off that Desolator, as well as having that Aegis getting on to level 15 in just a moment. Not only is 897 just recovering so well, has almost come back completely against this Monkey King's net worth.
Yeah, and he's super ready to fight right now. With the Aegis, with the Blink Dagger that's coming up, like, you can pretty much go. You have Blink Dagger Blade Mail on Legion Commander, Blink Dagger Aegis on 897. He just needs some mana, and they can pretty much pressure this tier 1. I believe a huge fight will happen here soon. You can see setup coming from Fighting Pandas too.
They're looking for it. The Burrow Strike hits onto the TA. They want to follow this up with something. The LSA will get thrown, won't land on anything. They've glyphed up their creeps, looking for this tier 1 tower over mid. And with 1 health, gets glyphed, and he's going to try and commit to this. This may not be the right move if Fighting Pandas were ready to go in. But Wukong's command started off for a second. They've got the duel coming in onto the Lich. Now the Wukong's command comes up, but the LSA is going to hit on the Moomiander. Eternal Envy comes over to throw the Omni Slash out at the Legion Commander, but they've got the Cold Embrace to keep Faith Beyond alive for a little bit longer as the Blade Fury finally comes out. But the Winter's Curse is on the Jug, and they'll lose Eternal Envy. Dust coming through. There's the RP on it too. Is it going to be enough? Burrow Strike follows it up. They'll take the Aegis as well as Innocence. LSA hits onto Snaking. Now the Gyro finally following it up. They'll blink forward. Snaking in trouble. Meld Strike hits. One more shot. Gets the kill. Bryle gets out. But this is a bit of a win here for
Bit of a win
EHOME.
for both teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
for EHOME definitely, but at the same time, Fighting Pandas, they didn't have a Blink or Magnus, and the RP was pretty good. They take down Aegis, Legion Commander, and Winter Viper. Yeah, they lose the Jug, but overall, like, it was a difficult fight for them. They were in a disadvantageous situation because of the Aegis, obviously, on TA. Troubling fact is that EHOME was fighting 4 versus 5 without the Gyro, so maybe not. Maybe they won't feel so good about these next fights, Fighting Pandas, that is. But once they get the Blink on the Magnus, I believe they have very big potential at winning team fights. There's the smoke.
So they smoke up, see if they can find anything. Wrap all the way out and around. If right now the only one near is 897, At around this 20-minute mark, he's going to go towards the bounty rune. Smoke's going to break. Her refraction is out. The Burrow Strike is there. The Primal Spring to follow it up as well as the Boundless Strike. 897 caught out, and he's there with his pants down. So he loses his life to get the bounty runes, and Fighting PandaS just engage, get a kill, and leave.
Yeah, that was such a free kill as well to get. I'm super surprised that he played it the way he did. He just ran into them. Yeah, he's playing with refraction and blink, obviously, but still, though, you're a TA, you're a position 2. You don't just go into no man's land like that to search for a bounty. I guess he expected them all to be around the bottom 2 bounty runes, because that's what you usually see, a team committing at 20-minute mark. You see teams committing at only one side of bounties. You don't really split up too much. Yeah.
It's only a 1,000 net worth lead here for the side of EHOME, which is a little bit surprising considering the empower on both the Jug, Monkey King, and really the Magnus himself as well.
Considering that TA was crushed early on, and there's pretty good recovery by EHOME, considering how the game started, how the laning stage went for them. They were like, what, 1 to 8 or something when it comes to kills. So very good recovery by Gyrocopter. Obviously farms really well. Same can be said for TA. But you are playing versus 2 empowered targets.
Looking potentially over for Moomiander. They'll also have Monkey King nearby.
Yeah, this could backfire, but there's 5 heroes of EHOME, right? If you are fighting PandaS, you need to get the hell out of here. And they will do that, yeah. They see the TA on the bot lane, they know that everyone is around her. She wouldn't be here alone, not without the BKB. And this tier 1 should fall, I believe, without any team fights. As you can see that fighting PandaS, they're just moving towards top to do the same thing, to mirror the move, to take down the tier 1.
Send over Innocence as TA will look to finish the tower over bottom.
This is
Envy
so
here on the
important.
rest of the team.
This is so important to mention, by the way. If you're playing with a hero that has catch, you don't have to sit behind that TA. Instead, you pour top and you wait to catch someone on retreat, or if you want to set up a defense, you can do that. Especially Winter Wyvern, you have that curse and you have Arctic Burn to fly across the trees and set up even easier.
Actually ends up just giving away the tower as Fighting PandaS, they're all 5 of them are right by this shrine. They've got the Winter's Curse coming through onto Eternal Envy. That'll be with the duel coming out. The Burrow Strike's going to be a little bit short from Moomiander. Another Wukong's command comes in, but they've got the good way. They'll get the duel victory. And the Yules, it looked like a potential RP attempt from Snake King to skewer in there, but Jinkyu doing a very good job of stopping that.
Fade Bian, can he find anything else? No, he can't. Lich TP's away. Well, I mean, overall, the way Fighting PandaS reacted to that was pretty weird, considering that Winter's Curse had almost full duration, so they could have helped their Jug. I believe that they should have been a little bit closer to Envy there. They had wards. Maybe they could have gotten a couple of counter kills even after he died. But no, they just lose 2 heroes and they're forced to retreat. I don't think that was a perfectly executed defense by EHOME, but it was well enough, it was good enough, and they get 2 pretty good kills. They get the position 4 and the position 1.
And the Legion Commander now at 56 dual damage. Ags soon here for the Gyrocopter, just 1,300 gold away from that. Innocence will Arctic Burn top, try to get away from Moomiander. Burrow Strike left, Arctic Burn right, and Innocence will escape.
Here's the double damage for the TA. She can't really use it right away because no BKB is on her now and there's no teammates around her too, so just back to farming. There will be another Aghanim's picked up on the enemy team, on the other team that is Fighting PandaS. Trial will be picking up his shortly. He's 800 gold away. There might be a smoke coming from EHOME though, yeah, there it is. Straight towards the top lane.
I don't think that ward right by the stairs spotted it either.
It didn't. It didn't for sure. Unless they were looking for smoke, then they could see it, but they didn't see any heroes actually. You can see the smoke effect that is in the air.
Point duel. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
What happened? He was just there.
I blinked. He's gone. The
I mean,
quickest
if you
duel
are
I've
going
ever
to
seen.
lose, if you are going to lose someone in the quickest duel this world has ever seen, it's good that Aoi was the one that died, right? As he's that position 5, and breaking a smoke from position 5 is never good. Oh, yeah.
Radiant's middle
That
tower
was
is under attack.
millimeters away from hitting E.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
That's definitely a clench moment. I don't know if it's a clench for him, but watching that almost happen, I got nervous. Over mid, Primal Spring. Faith Beyond is here. He has duel in 2 seconds. But everybody for Fighting Pandas is around. He stays by, and this might cause him to... we'll see. Thought for a second they might go for the duel. Try and follow it up. They do have the Blink Dagger on the Templar Assassin. They saw a couple heroes TP out, but now VT Faded forcing that 10-second BKB. Bryle just backs off, and that is a very defensive BKB, and that's never the way you want to start it.
Definitely not, but it was good from him to realize that he has to use that BKB and run, and not just try to TP away, because if he tried to TP away, there's a chance Magnus is there and he catches him with the RP. So, a good play by him. They are converging around this tier 1, which should fall without contest, right? Only 3 hits by Brawl and it's gone, but perhaps this tier 2 is next.
We'll see what they allow to give up as Jinkyu nearby has the Yules. LSA hits. It actually stuns up the Monkey King as well, and now Fifion's going to get the duel on the tree. Snake King tries to skewer him away, looks for the RP, but they've got the Cold Embrace. The Epicenter comes in, and now the RP is going to follow it up. They'll get the kill on a Faith Beyond. They've got the Omni Slash on a VT Faded inside the Wukong's command. They'll take out the Gyrocopter, who does not have buyback. 897 is going to try and run. AY loses his life to the TA. They've got the Shrine to try and stay alive. Good Winter's Curse locks up Snake King as well as the MK, but EE gets a kill, and he looks over now towards 897. They've got Moomiander right here. And, well, he is dead to rights.
Just a really good team fight right there happening from Fighting Pandas. The way they initiated, they had vision for them. They had vision to go and play around. Also, Lich being the one that's initiated on and also not being killed and eliminated early on allowed him to use all his spells before dying, and that was massive too. But Fighting Pandas, they're just playing these team fights a little bit better and easier, it seems. Zenvi, all he has to do is blink in on top of that Gyro, ulti him, Gyro falls. After that, TA is just completely isolated. Very well played. They get the cheese and Aegis after that successful team fight as a reward.
So they are starting to pull ahead a little bit. Got the Monkey King at the top of the net worth. He's going for the Satanic next. And that was a really good fight there from Fighting Pandas. They use everything, but, I mean, when you use everything and it comes out like that, it's way worth it.
It's
And
very worth it, yeah. I think if you're EHOME, you need to initiate first with the Duel and the Lina.
Burrow Strike. LSA now with the Blade Mail. Press the attack. They've got the Yules out onto the Jug. Faith Beyond trying to run, but Jingu procs, and they've got yet another kill onto this Legion Commander, dead for 50 seconds. Does have
Bryle
buyback.
with the mega kill, with the Aegis, with the cheese. This tier 2 on top lane might fall next. The creeps are coming in.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Wondering when they're going to look to potentially just pressure these towers and push in.
I'm actually surprised EHOME didn't play around the Lina and Legion Commander as much. Like, just the two of them making moves together. Instead, Legion Commander shows herself a bit too often in the lane farming. And because of that, EHOME is pretty much useless when it comes to pickoffs. They can't make any. You need this Legion to be making moves. If you go for the Blink Dagger and Blade Mail build, you need to be making moves pretty much 24/7 when duel is off cooldown. But they didn't do it a couple of times. They got initiated on, and because of that, Fighting Pandas, they're in a pretty good lead right now. 3k ahead, but a comfortable 3k ahead with Aegis with cheese as well.
Just just about have this Satanic finished for Bryle. It looks like maybe a potential setup into a smoke. They do have one in AUI snaking nearby. He's got the Blink Dagger available, so yeah, it looks like they are setting up for a move
Securing the
over
bounty,
top.
right?
See
Secure
if
the
they look
bounty
for
rolls
more.
first.
I think they had the scan.
Yeah, Moon can join them on that top lane whenever he wants to. He has travels to work with. Also building towards the Aghanims. Let's see the smoke. Most certainly will happen here. And the TA might be in problems mid lane.
Mid lane, they'll look for the TA. They've got the Balance Strike as well as the Wukong's command. Sinister Gaze holds him close. Popping the BKB. Will they give chase to this? They've got the RP, so they're locking up the TA. It's a 10-second BKB. Do they have the damage to break through this? Refraction popped once again into the meld.
Blink!
And nice blink away from 897. He gets some distance, but Moonmeander looking to cover ground. The Winter's Curse locks him up, but Bryle,
Is under attack.
he's still searching. He goes into the trees. Balance Strike? No, never even uses it. Thinks about going for it. And now just doubles back as they go for the tower and also find themselves Innocence.
Dire's bottom
Yep.
tower has fallen.
Really good ulti by Innocence, by the way. Even though he will fall here most likely, he has Glimmer, but there's way too much damage from Brawl. Even though he does fall in the end, he saves the TA as Sand King was on the hunt, and you had to stop him as he has that Burrow Strike to work with and Dual Scepter, so TA would have like 99% died if that ulti wasn't used there. Overall, though, I have to say, EHOME, they're definitely risking a lot by playing the way they're playing. These two cores, TA and Legion Commander, it's not the first time that they've been caught like just farming somewhere that's just super risky to farm. We saw Legion dying top, we saw Legion dying bottom, same for the TA. But this time around, the TA does survive.
Yule's out on the Monkey King. Nothing more from that. They'll get the tier 2 tower.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
See, they look to keep the pressure on. They've got Bryle showing for the moment. Not a lot of pressure being felt from fighting PandaS. Like, yeah, they're getting these kills, but I think they're playing very safe right now, considering. I feel like we've seen other teams get a couple of kills like that, get a pick off or two, and then just move into towers and push.
I think it's really good
Radiant's bottom
because
tower is
just
under
choking
attack.
them inside of their base sometimes might backfire though, as Monkey King is alone here with... Nah, he's way too careful. Jumps onto the trees, he senses that they're smoked.
Bro Strike coming
Stun.
out onto Innocence. Balance Strike as well as the Yule's coming through. Look for the Wukong's command right on Innocence. Cold Embrace will keep him alive, but again, extending the inevitable.
That Aegis has just been reclaimed. That's one of the reasons why they stopped the way they did. They know when Aegis is about to expire and they smoke up to try and pounce on the Monkey King a little bit earlier. The reason why Innocence died there is he was in a good position, but he didn't realize that Sand King has Aghanims completed. So for Moon Meander, it was very easy to get on top of him. But overall, like we were talking about this reluctant.
Oh, Bro Strike onto the Lina. Jinkyu now has the Dust, has the Yules, trying to leave, but the Balance Strike is there. Another pickoff for fighting PandaS.
Yeah.
No buyback either.
This is how they have to play. Just play around the pickoffs. Choke them inside of their base, prevent them from farming, get pickoffs. You don't have to win the game straight up. You don't have to press the matter. Just play the area, play around them. You can see the wards from there as well. They're super aggressive and they give them so much info.
E97 and Faith Beyond come over and they start to farm up. And farming now together, not so alone as we've seen previously.
But that's also not good, right? Like when you're farming alone, you're actually maximizing your farming input. When you're farming like this together, especially when you have multiple cores farming at the same time, you're not really getting a lot out of it. But at least you're not dying, then that's something.
To the swift, the spoils.
Is there a point where EHOME feels strong enough to fight back? It seems like obviously the pickoffs are what's hurting them, but definitely
No,
playing
they're-
hyper defensive.
Now, there isn't a point if the game is defaultly played out like this. There isn't a point in which EHOME becomes stronger. They can only grow weaker because fighting pandas will outfarm them. You have two empowered heroes farming everything across the map. Monkey King is just so mobile. He's farming the whole Radiant jungle. Suddenly he's around the Radiant Shrine on the top lane too. So you can't. You can see the lead is just increasing. It was 4K maybe 2 minutes ago. Now it's 8K for fighting pandas. So overall, if you are EHOME, perhaps you should smoke up and try to capture one side of the map. You don't have to make any kills. You just need to smoke up and secure one area with ward, which will make it easier for you to fight around that area. If fighting pandas try to invade it, maybe you can counterplay that.
They are moving over as a unit through mid for the moment.
Through their high ground. They're not moving any right. Chilling.
They kind of spread out. They've got the smoke ready on AUI if they want to make a move like that. They're just, again, like you said, staying by the shrine, keeping that pressure up, and kind of choking out where EHOME have the ability to farm.
Invisibility.
I mean, it's just sad when you're looking at EHOME. They're just forced to stick together. This is the first time TA and Gyro are on different sides of the map in the last 5 minutes. Can E do it? Can the anime win this game? What do you think? Is it possible?
They are 10,000, and you know, I think if TA gets 25, they've got a shot. Right now, it feels like it's kind of out of hand, but Fighting Pandas are giving a lot of time to EHOME, obviously extending their net worth lead in doing so, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you know, maybe they got it this time around.
They're definitely in a comfortable spot just to continue farming. And they're waiting for Roshan. It will be up in 1 minute and 40 seconds, so they're pretty much waiting on that, playing around this ward that they have on the Radiant Shrine. I think it's super important to keep vision here as well. There's the smoke. They are moving and rotating behind the gyro that they spotted on that mid lane.
They'll come over,
Innocence.
and they've got Innocence. Boundless Strike will get the kill.
You
Good
know,
for 46.
that's actually the best kill for them, because he's the easiest one to take down, and he's the biggest counter initiator on the side of EHOME. If you go on anyone else, there's a chance he winter curses you or uses Cold Embrace on that target. I'm actually surprised by Innocence and how reckless he's been positioning himself throughout the game. He's always trying to scout out, trying to make these moves. I guess it's because they don't truly have another hero that can do that.
He gets caught out. At least it's the 5 position, though. If you're EHOME, you're kind of happy it's just that. But I say that, and now it's Faded who's gotten caught. Eternal Envy comes in with the Omni Slash. It's going to be mitigated a little bit by Faith Beyond, but is it going to be enough to get away from this? Faith Beyond slowed up by the Diffusal Blade of Eternal Envy. They'll get the kill onto the Legion. They look for the Burrow Strike. It's going to whiff. And Gyro gets out, but they lose the Legion.
Yeah, they lose the Legion, and they're just waiting for that Roshan, which will 5 seconds right now, so they'll go straight into the pit. They know that it will be up right now, as it's a very long rush respawn.
It's Refresher Shard, not Ag's Blessing, which is
This
much
should be a
better for
buyback from the
Pandas.
Legion. This should be a buyback. They have Winter's Curse. They know there's no RP, but this rush is falling super fast.
I try to get it done without the Legion. Legion, a really late buyback. They've got themselves the Burrow Strike. Now the cooldown comes out. Do they have the Winter's Curse? No. It's a Cold Embrace on the Jinkyu. Oddly played as he's skewered back into the pit and pulled out of the pit. Thanks to the Sinister Gaze. And now, Winter Wyvern, he gets killed off. Bryle's godlike.
Brawl is godlike. Envy has an Aeon disc, by the way, on his Juggernaut. Like, this guy likes to experiment with item builds, but I really love the Aeon disc in this game, as it prevents him from dying in a duel. Like, there's no chance they kill him with, let's say, a duel and Laguna Blade. So it's a really smart pickup. He has that refresher shard as well to work with now. I think EHOME, they're playing from behind and they're pretty much not really making these necessary risks. I think Legion had to buy back a little bit earlier there to try and contest Roche, but it's definitely a very hard decision to make, and it's definitely a really hard spot that they're in right now. 20k behind, the game is slowly closing around them as fighting pandas are pushing high ground now too.
Got no buyback on the Legion if Legion were to be taken out. Bryle, though, moving very far forward. He needs to be careful about how he approaches this, because he just is gone. But it looks like they're setting up for a Burrow Strike potentially into the RP. They've got themselves the duel. Snaking waiting on the side. The Shamefall's going to bounce off this. And now they've got the Refresher Shard. TA hit by the Abyssal Blade. They'll get the kill. TA gone for 95 seconds. Meanwhile, they look over at Faith Beyond, and they've got him mules up. Boundless Strike comes in, and Winter's Curse, that'll lock them up for a time being, but now they've got themselves the RP. That'll lock down 2. VT Faded as well as the Lina are certainly going to die. They'll lose the Winter Wyvern, and GG will be called.
Yeah, I just have to say, I love the way EHOME played this last fight. It wasn't that bad, but they're just way too far behind, and Fighting Pandas take the game easily on the hands of Envy and Bryle that were empowered throughout the game by snaking. Pretty much a lot of farm given to them, a lot of space given to them, and that's what we were talking about early on. It doesn't matter that you might have these heroes that farm faster on the side of EHOME. Once you're empowered as Jug and Monkey, you will outfarm them and eventually win the game. That last team fight, by the way, Winter Wyvern played it so well. Glimmer keeping the gyro, saving him from the Omni Slash after it was refreshed, then using his ulti to save him twice, but they were way too far behind. And overall, I believe in a game such as this one, even though Wyvern is a position 5, his positioning is super important, and having that counter initiation after either the Omni Slash or Magnus's ulti was so important for them, and they never had it because he would always be the first one to fall, sadly for EHOME.
So it ends up being a win there for Fighting Pandas. And potentially looking at revenge, though if we look back at history, they did take Game 1 over EHOME to start the series yesterday. Not trying to jinx them either, but, you know, maybe history likes to repeat itself.
It did happen, yeah. I was casting that game, and the first match Fighting Pandas also won, and then they went full Omega lol in the last 2 games and just threw super hard, lost both of them.
So a very good and well-played game from Fighting Pandas, taking it, you know, carefully where they needed to and aggressive in the spots that they felt comfortable in, and that ultimately led to them winning this game 28-13 and taking Game 1 in a big series, because you win the series, upper bracket, you lose the series, lower bracket. You know, it is very controlling of your own fate in the major almost, and you know, Fighting Pandas is now 1 game away from seeing themselves in the upper bracket. So we'll be back with Game 2 in just a moment. I'm your caster, B-Cop, joined here by Lizard, and we'll be with Game 2 soon. Stay right there.